So before we begin, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Sylvia Putri with the MPM 1951120. So right now I'm going to discuss about the basic concept of private international law. So let's begin. When you hear the word private international law, what has come into your mind? So when I hear the word private international law, the word private like means between you and me, while international is mean global. So it has been a question mark to my mind. So let's see the meaning. So a private international is part of law which has come into operation whenever the court is faced with dispute that involves a foreign element. So, and what has the private international law deal with? So, private international law basically deal with private relationship across border, for example, like family law matter, recognitions of recognition of judgment, tort, contract, and etc. So, as we can see, the word foreign element. So, what is actually foreign element? So foreign element is basically a fact relevant, a fact, a fact relevant, a fact relevant to the issue involved in the proceeding which has a connection with a territorial unit other than the territorial unit where the court is dealing with the proceeding. Okay, next. So history of the private international law. So in the ancient Romans, all of the issue that arose as a result relationship between Romans and a foreign trader settled by a special court praetor peregrinis. A law used by the judge was essentially a law for the Roman civis, namely ius civile, that has been adjusted to the international association. So ius civile that has been adapted for the international relation, it is then called ius gentium. So as it is with ius civile, also contain ius gentium norm that categorize into ius privatum and ius publicum. Ius gentium, which is part of ius privatum, developed what is so-called private international law, while the ius gentium, who is portion of ius publicum, has grown into private international law. To conclude this history of private international law, trading with foreigner play a big role in developments of private international law. So they have discovered private international law from the trading between country, because people in the old day doing trading across border without having a law in it. So they created, and the development of private international law is came from this trading. So let's see the difference between public international law and private international law. So as private international law is also known as conflict of law. So it's basically relegating relationship between private person or of two different states. While public international law is body of legal rules which apply between sovereign state and other international personality. Public international law rules are outcomes of international custom and treaties, while private international law are framed by the state's legislature. And what is public international law enforced by? Public international law is enforced by international pressures and fear, for example, breakage of diplomatic relation and sanctions or etc. While private international law is enforced by the concerned state executive. In public international law, there is no predetermined court, while in private international law, there are predetermined. Public international is same for all the stages, while private international is differ from state to state. So that's what make public and private international law differences. Let's jump to the aspect of private international law. So there is three aspects of private international law: is jurisdiction, choice of law, recognition, or enforcement of foreign judgment. So as jurisdiction is rule whether the court is empowered by law to solve the case. In what circumstances the court will assume jurisdiction over cases having foreign element? For choice of law, this court must decide which system of law is applicable. Then the rule for choice of law, this rule do not furnish a direct solution of the case, but only stipulate which national legislation is applicable for the case. The third, for choice of law, which law will the court apply in deciding such cases, the native municipal law or a foreign law? Later we will discuss on the cases. As for the last recognition or enforcement of a foreign judgment, as like I won my court case but I haven't been paid. This litigations has been before court of one country but another court has to recognize or permit the enforcement of foreign judgment. So in what circumstances it will recognize a foreign judgment or when it will order the executions of a foreign decrees. So next, it will be the connecting factor. So before we jump into the cases, we need to discuss some of this connecting factor because it is related to our cases later. So first is lex patriae. So it is the nationality of the member of or the people in the cases. Like as I myself, I am an Indonesian nationality, so my lex patriae is Indonesia. So lex domicile is the domiciles of the member. So as in my cases right now, I live in Indonesia, so my lex domicile is in Indonesia. Well, lex situs is where was the property. So in the cases, what is the property? Where is the property right now? That is the lex situs. So lex loci actus is the place where the engagement was held, while lex loci celebrationis is the place where the members celebrate their birthday or where their birthday or their marriage or where their marriage is recognized. Not recognized, it's actually where their marriage is held. Like Solosy contractors, the place where the member was signs the engagement. Like case is determine which kind of law will be used. Lex fori determine which jurisdiction will be resolved the problems. And lex loci delicti commissi, the place where determines what's happened. Lex loci solution is the place where we done the engagement. Lex loci damni, the place where the accident was happened. Lex loci arbitri, the place where the arbitration has determined. So let's jump into the cases. Okay. Mm, let's jump into the cases. So under the register number of 172, PDT G 2114 PNDPS. It is discussed about the divorce of foreigner in Indonesia. So from the register number, it can show that it is happened on 2014. So there is a guy named Petrus Jacob and his wife. They were a couple and they got married in 12 December 1975. They are South African citizen and they both got married in South Africa and was registered under the South Africa marriage. So now let's discuss their marriage life. So over the 10 year, like from 1975 until 2014, they both have not been blessed by a baby. Mm-hmm. Um, as for their both work, They both live separately because of their work, as they work in a hospital nationality that has hospitality sector, which allow them to live separately and travel separately. And for over the 10 year, they got separated and live separately. That's why Petrus decided to do a divorce to his wife, and his wife was agree with it. So the divorce got placed in Denpasar where they both live, and his wife was agree to it. Let's first see the characterization. As for the characterization, as we see before, let's separate the nationality. As we can see, they both are South African citizen. So they are South Africa. So their next domicile is where they live right now, which is in Denpasar. The next for what form of law they are using in these cases. In these cases, since they both live in Denpasar, they decided to use an Indonesian law. So as for the Lex Kase is Indonesia. The Lex Celebrationis is where the marriage was held. It was in South Africa. So what comes into your mind when you see these cases is they got married in Africa, but then their cases divorce was happened in Indonesia. So it will be is their merit and valid under South Africa? Is South Africa agree? Is Indonesia agree into their merit and approve their merit? As for the answer is yes, because there is evidence that they got married. There is a file or document that stated they were married. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching. And sorry if I have made a lot of mistake in my English and on my pronunciation. Thank you.